tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
And how are we doing out there all across this great land of ours and around the world? It's once again time for the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Akos, and we are here to do what we do best, and that is to educate, inform, and engage you, our listening audience, on the politics of religion and the religion of politics. Yes, we do break down the imaginary wall separation between church and state, and we do it with facts, figures, and, of course, opinion. Opinion based on truth. You know, we are biased, but at least we give you the truth. And you can do with it as you wish, but we'll give it to you anyways. We're glad to have you with us this afternoon. Great afternoon out here. And, well, boy, what a lively week. What a lively week last week. And we're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about it in a way that probably nobody else is talking about it right now. Everybody wants to talk about Donald Trump's bad week last week. The media had a feast last week on majoring in the minors because that's all they know how to do. They don't know how to do anything else but major in the minors. Pick apart the little things. You know, Donald Trump's a baby hater, all right, because he made some joke about a baby. Melania Trump is now, you know, there's this big thing going on about whether she was here illegally or not. And if she was, how long was she? You know, my only response to that is, how many people are still here illegally for much longer period of time than if she even was? You know, she still went and got her visa, and she got her green card, and she did everything that the law requires. How many people are out there being defended by the left today? In fact, they even have them come to their convention. Undocumented illegals coming to the convention talking about how great it is to be an undocumented illegal in America. You know, that kind of stuff, you know, so that nobody pays attention to that. But we're all worried about Donald Trump's tendency to just, you know, take some things a little bit too personally. And, boy, that is the qualifier or disqualifier. But nobody wants to talk about Hillary's bad week, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And along with that, with Donald Trump's economic speech today, which I thought, as far as a Donald Trump speech, I almost didn't recognize it. It was so organized and factual and pretty much to the point. He threw a couple jabs in there, but it was a very well presented speech, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Otherwise, though, let me bring on Joe. Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, John. Donald Trump had a bad week. When did that happen?
Well, you know what? I always get a kick out of this stuff. You know, my travels today kept me on the road for longer than I wanted to be on the road, but it also gave me the opportunity to do what I do at that time in the morning. And you know, I tuned into Rush Limbaugh's show and listened to him a little bit. And he was really bringing home some points about the poll numbers. You know, about how, and he was really, I thought, just really relevant in questioning. You know, the polls are out there. Most of them now are saying that Hillary's somewhere like 8 to 10. I think there's one poll out that says she's 15 points above Trump or something like that. And, you know, on this show, we don't really put a lot of stock in the polls. We'll start looking at them real seriously maybe the last couple of weeks of the election season. But right now, I think the point that needs to be taken, you know, he's talking about the fact that After the RNC convention, I think Trump had like a 3 or 4 point bounce. He was like 3 or 4 points above Clinton. Some polls had him at 6. The Democrats do their poll or their convention, and all of a sudden there's like this massive 18-point swing. The 6 points that Trump was over Clinton is gone, and she's got a 15-point lead over him. Just out of nowhere. Okay, and we had talked about last week that what Rush was very good at pointing out is that the polls these days, they're just whatever the media wants them to be. I don't even know if they're really polling anybody anymore. He says, I think it's more like the media is just polling what they think the numbers should be or something like that. But that aside, not getting into the numbers themselves, what I find most telling is that whether or not the polls are accurate, there still is very little space between Clinton and Trump in terms of numbers. Okay, you can go 6 points one way or the other. But combined, there's still 25% of the electorate out there that is either going in another direction or hasn't made their mind up yet. And so you're looking at, Trump just below 40% and Clinton just over 40%. Those are terrible numbers for either candidate. And the point being is, Trump is still hanging in there with all the gaffes and everything else, and everybody's singing the praises of Clinton, all of her experience, all of her abilities, her being a woman and being a child, warrior for the children and everything else. And they're still virtually in a dead heat. So, this is unlike any other election at all that I've ever been, I've ever witnessed. How about you? Have you really ever seen anything like this, Joe?
I just think it's what this has shown, just like this election season's been. It's just been an eye opener that shows how corrupt the two-party system has become. How the elites in both parties are willing to do anything, lie, cheat, steal. They'll do anything to keep their power. The Democrats cheated Bernie Sanders and his people out. What did he get? Well, how many votes did he get? 14 million people voted for him? I don't know how many people voted for him.
Yeah, it was somewhere around 14 million, yeah.
A lot of people voted for Bernie Sanders, and they were basically cheated out of their... none of their stuff counted. And then you had Trump had a bad week last week. Yeah, and most of that was caused by the establishment Republicans...
Right.
leaking information and doing nefarious things against their own party's candidate.
Yeah. See, that was the most. There's been two of the most telling things for me. I agree with you. Number one is we no longer, and we talked about almost all last week. There is no longer a two-party system in this country. It is the globalists versus the nationalists. I took that phrase that Joe coined last week. That's what it is. It is the globalists versus the nationalists, and there is no party affiliation with these guys other than where they park their nameplate when they're sitting in the big room.
You could call it as Paul Nealon up there, who's running against Paul Ryan up there in Wisconsin. He calls it the Uniparty.
How about this? The Trans Party.
Oh, I don't know about that. To me, that means you're going somewhere like transportation.
No, well, let's just call them trans ideologues. Okay, well, we have transgenders, we have trans species, and all the different. Why don't we just call them trans ideologues? It's like there is no ideology. It's whatever I feel like today. That kind of thing. Maybe that's what we should put above the halls of Congress today. A unisex bathroom sign. One of them unisex bathroom signs?
Or maybe just a giant unicorn head.
Yeah, something like that.
I got a trans bank account, because I think that's what my bank account is.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is that and the stupidity of the American voter.
Oh, just the Gruber, the big giant Gruber head.
Theorem. I mean, when I first trotted that out, it was almost, I was trying to be funny, and now I think about it and go, man, I was dead on. I was spot on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that really, to me, is the most disheartening. I get the politics thing. I get the politicians. I get the establishment. All that stuff. The stupidity of the American voter is the reason we have the problem. And that's what's scary. So we're going to talk about that. We got Bob Cardoso coming on with us at the bottom of the hour. He'll be calling in, and then I want to talk when we get back from break here. I want to talk real quick about something that's gone on out here in L.A.
I'd like you to talk about this, John, because this is very, very important. We should
very important, life changing in the minds of somebody. I don't know who, but anyway, we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. I want to just spend a few moments on this. Everyone's
John. This is very, very, very important.
Yeah. I mean, this is life changing.
I can't believe we hadn't talked about this before. I can't believe that this is the first time that you even ever brought it up. This is just unbelievable. And you're supposed to be my friend.
I couldn't pass it up. And the reason why this Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti has a special place in my heart.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Okay, has a special place in my heart, and that place is he is the son of Gil Garcetti, and Gil Garcetti was the insurance commissioner out here in California.
That's why that name's familiar to me.
Yeah, he was the insurance commissioner out here in California back in '93, from 1990 up to about 90. I think right around 98.
Yeah, that's the time I was in California. Yes.
Yeah, and I was selling insurance in those days. And so that's why he just has this special place in my heart. And then he thought the insurance commission post was going to launch him into the governor position, and nobody told him that Jerry Brown has a lock on that, and Gray Davis and all that. And he just disappeared into oblivion after trying to run for governor, and when he tried to take the step up for insurance commissioner. Well, his son Eric Garcetti is now the mayor of Los Angeles, and it also worked his way up through the insurance commission's office, and is now in charge of what's going on out here in L.A. He replaced Antonio Villaraigosa, and he is of the same mold of Villaraigosa. These guys, the only thing that doesn't look the same is the color of their skin.
Must be that vowel at the end of your name.
Yeah, they're just two peas in a pod. And so Garcetti happens to be down in Rio right now watching the Olympics, because that's what Los Angeles mayors do with their time. They go down to cities like this and try to see, how many more illegals can you ship up to us so that we can push out all the businesses and we can turn ourselves into a socialist republic type of thing. They call this the Republic of California. That's their technical name, by the way.
Oh, I understand. Eureka, baby.
Yeah, California Republic. And it should be the California Socialist Republic now. Okay? And anyway, Garcetti's concerned that since L.A., he's down in Rio trying to bid for the 2024 Olympic Games out here. Yeah, the 2024 Olympic Games out here, because I guess they think that sports are that important and we got to go 10 years, 12 years, 15 years into the future to plan this kind of stuff. And anyway, and he's a Hillary Clinton supporter, by the way. No surprise. He's a Democrat.
No way.
Yeah, he's a very, very well-known Democratic operative out here in California. And anyway, he's down in Rio, kissing butt, trying to see if he can get L.A. on the short list of cities to host the Olympic Games out here. And he's concerned that if Donald Trump gets elected, it might just push the United States out of any opportunity.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Here it is. It used to be blame Bush for everything. Now it's blame Trump for everything. And his thing is that he just thinks all these other countries, all these other nations would look at the United States with Trump as president and just say, oh, we don't want to go to a country where your president's a race baiter and a sexist and everything else. Not completely forgetting that 90% of these countries have people in power that are exactly the same.
Or no, actually, they're worse, John.
Or actually worse, Okay, do we care if Iran comes to the Olympics? Do we care if Libya comes to the Olympics? I'd rather have the Jamaicans, snow sleds team,
Their bobsled team?
Yeah, from Jamaica. Yeah, I think that'd be more appropriate. But
they don't have those in the Summer Olympics, John.
Yeah. So anyway, Garcetti's trying to think for these people, and he was being interviewed by Associated Press.
The Associated Press got a hold of him. I wonder how many drinks he had beforehand.
So he says, I think for some of the IOC members, they would say, some of them, I guess, wait a second, can we go to a country like that where we've heard things that we take offense to?
Oh, safe space.
I mean, right now, you tell me how many countries over in Europe, in terms of population, I'm not talking about the leadership. I'm not talking about Anne Merkel or somebody like that. I'm talking about the citizens of Germany. Not Anne Merkel, but the citizens of Germany. How many of them are sitting over to go, well, geez, we can't allow the Olympics go to America? I mean, Trump, he's a hater. He hates Muslims. I bet you right now about 90% of the population's over there going, God, I wish we had Donald Trump rather than Anne Merkel.
Yeah, they're probably going, Donald makes sense as compared to Angela, Fräulein Merkel. Yeah, Donald.
So, and then he goes on to say, he says, I think that gives us even more urgency globally, where we can say this is something that has different strength maybe than the things that you've heard or the things you believe. Let's put it this way. That's exactly it. You give a liberal long enough to talk, and they'll actually spit out the truth, although they don't know they're saying it. Okay? He says, he's talking about things that you've heard or things that you believe. Okay, so the things you believe line up with the things that you've heard.
So they're not what they would call these crazy things called facts.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what the facts are. Okay, it's just this is what I've heard. I'll give you a perfect example. There was an article posted somewhere down in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yes.
By a news person, a news reporter. Okay? And I don't know if I have it. Let me see if I can. As I'm talking here, I'm looking it up and see if because I know I posted it on my Facebook page, and my heading on it was, there are just enough dumbasses in this country that will read this article and actually believe that it's real. Okay, now what the article is about is from a Charlotte. Here it is, the Charlotte Observer.
Yes, the Charlotte Observer.
Okay. And this is an article that was written, let's see, I'm waiting for it to pop up here in front of me. It was written last week, and it was written by Walker Lundy, a special to the Observer. This is a special, exclusive, or, whatever words they put on it, okay? And it starts out this way. In a turn of events that shocked the political world and threw the presidential race into unprecedented turmoil, Donald J. Trump announced yesterday that he is quitting the race and endorsing Hillary Clinton. Trump said oh man, I hate these pop-ups. They put these pop-ups in here and I had popped up and completely blocked me out here. He says, Trump said the only point of his campaign was to show how stupid and gullible many Republican voters are. I've been a Democrat all my adult life, Trump told a packed and boisterous news conference, but I knew if I ran as a Republican and said increasingly ridiculous, idiotic, racist, and sexist things that I would get a lot of votes. Okay, now, here you've got a guy reporting to the people down in Charlotte who obviously thinks, as we think, that you guys are proponents of the Gruber theorem.
You're just too darn stupid.
You're too darn stupid to know. But the point being is that usually when you read an article like this, you see this like in The Onion or something like that, and you go, ha, 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 this is supposed to be a legitimate reporter. And nowhere in here is there a disclaimer or anything anything that says, hey, I'm just writing this because I'm a pissed off Democrat. Okay, and I want to take a cheap shot at Donald Trump or anything. I guarantee you, people all over the country reading this thing, and actually I bet you're freaking out. And I bet you a bunch of Trump supporters were freaking out.
Oh, yeah, probably. I bet you, I bet you there's a bunch of establishment Republican types that were freaking out.
Yeah, well, he goes on. See, he goes on to lay statements to Paul Ryan. Why isn't Paul Ryan out there saying something about the fact that, hey, people are putting words in my mouth and just making stuff up? He says, Paul Ryan says, after I thought about it a bit, I realized this made a lot more sense than the campaign he was running. The joke's on us. Ha ha. Okay, so this guy wrote this article with no, it'd be great if, it's a satire. I'm sure it's satire. I'm sure the guy's just, having some fun or, venting or expressing his disdain for Donald Trump, or his disdain for Republicans or whatever. But shouldn't there be some type of requirement that when you're writing something like this, if you're doing it for a legitimate post, that you have to disclaim or somewhere acknowledge, hey, I just made this stuff up just to pull your leg?
I just made this crap up. That's what they used to have these people called editors for.
Yeah, well, the editors are probably the one who put them up for it, to it.
Yeah, exactly. So that tells you that they're in on it, and so this is the message they want to send out.
Yeah,
this is how dishonest the media is today, John. We know that.
Yeah, and it's perfect. The reason I brought it up is exactly what you're saying. It is so indicative of what's going on right now that the media has just decided, okay, no holds barred, no integrity required. Not that they've had any, but at least they used to pretend that they did. Yeah. It's no longer, it's like whatever we can put out there. And that gets back to what I was talking about earlier with Rush Limbaugh and the polls.
Yeah.
Okay, the polls are basically whatever they wanted to be. And, what Limbaugh brought up, what I thought was really, I think, relevant to some degree. He resurfaced the comments made by Bob Costas last week for the Washington Post when he was asked by Charlie Rose, do you think Trump really has, basically what Rose was saying is, how long is this Trump thing going to continue? When is he going to finally die? And Costas came out and said, well, there's a lot of voters out there that have never voted before or have not voted in a long time, and they're not being included in these surveys and polls. And I heard that and I went, and he says, and if those people show up, who knows where this thing is going to go?
Yeah, that's the whole thing is, I was listening today, I heard the comment made that the patterns and the tools that they use to do these polls are just the same as everything else they've done in this election season, which they've got it wrong because this is a different kind of thing going on now.
Yeah, this is not, as we have been, if anything is evident, is that we cannot sit here and use any kind of traditional template to determine what's going on. You can't. There's no way in the world we know one way or the other right now how this thing is going to pan out. And I think the most indicative thing of that is that the polls, regardless of their legitimacy or not, some of them are considered legitimate, some are jokes. But the point is, none of them have changed the way that they do things. And so what they're doing is they're still out there polling. Limbaugh brought up the fact, he said, Gallup doesn't even do polls on this stuff anymore because they got it so screwed up they don't even want to look bad anymore, so they don't do anything.
Yeah, they're tired of being wrong.
Yeah. And, and he was talking about in the 2012 election how everybody thought Romney was just going to walk away with this thing. He was just going to wax. And it was all due to these voters that nobody knew whether they were going to show up or not. Mm-hmm. That kind of stuff. So he's saying everything is just being replayed at the same speed and everything else. But we don't know exactly how it's going to pan out because this dynamic with Trump is unpredictable. We don't know how many of these people are going to show up. We don't know how many of the Sanders people are going to stay home. We don't know what the mix is. We don't know. We don't even know at this point, for the first time since Ross Perot, we've got a third-party candidate that could really, in a close election. That was the other thing Limbaugh brought up I thought was relevant. He says, how can anybody be 10 or 15 points ahead of anybody when you got somebody like Gary Johnson carrying 10%? And you've got Jill Stein out there. She's got 5 or 6% of the vote right now. So you're telling me that there was an 18-point swing in a matter of a couple of days from that all of a sudden people heard Donald Trump attack a Muslim parent and all of the Trump people just threw their hands up, no, I'm going to vote for Hillary? He goes, that isn't going to happen. So it's like everybody's just saying, oh, this is what's going to happen, or this is what, and it's just really what they want to happen. And that's the core of liberal thinking. There's no reality involved. This is what we think should happen, or this is what we want to happen. And so our reporting, quote unquote, will fit that narrative.
Yes,
this is what you should. This is what you should be thinking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Your dear mayor's going, everything we're going through right now in the United States politically, I don't want us to be a country that turns into itself. As he spoke to the Democratic convention in Philadelphia last month, I think we need to look outward to the world.
Yeah, right. You've been looking inward since Kennedy, for crying out loud.
Kennedy would not be a Democrat today.
No. Probably any more than Reagan would be a Republican today. I don't think Reagan would fit the Republican mantle today.
Well, he would be on the outside, that's for sure. He would not be part of the establishment.
Yeah, he'd be. I don't think it'd be far-fetched to think that if Reagan was running today, that instead of Trump, that the attacks might be just the same.
Well, some of the same attacks were made against Reagan.
Yeah.
Same attacks that are going on right now. Trump is going to cause World War III.
Yeah.
They said the same thing about Reagan.
It's Armageddon because of Trump. Hey, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll have Bob Cardoso with us from Robert Cardoso Live. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Expand your life with Expandovite. When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Expandovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame. He owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
Hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And just a quick remark here before we bring Bob Cardoso on to do his segment here. Joe was talking about the number of interruptions during Donald Trump's economic speech today. And apparently, from what we know at this point, it was mostly, I guess, a bunch of deranged women. And they were called the Michigan People's Campaign. That sounds like a Bernie Sanders group out there. I think Trump even acknowledged that Sanders people are certainly a lot more active, a lot more proactive than Hillary Clinton, that kind of thing. So I guess, yeah, and even more surprising, maybe Trump has finally picked up on something here. He didn't respond to any of them, other than to say, I guess that's what happens when you go from a group of 35 to 2,000.
Yeah, they looked so happy as they were being drug out and stuff. It's just like, oh wow, and it's kind of funny. These Michigan People's Campaign, people and the planet first. I'm looking at their Facebook page. It's just like, yeah, these guys are great.
The capital,
the power of the people.
The capital of the carbon footprint. And you've got all the liberal activists out there. Anyway, just
awesomeness. This is
just some good stuff here. Anyway, we got Bob Cardoso with us from Robert Cardoso Live, doing his one of his two segments he does with us during the week here. How you doing today, Bob?
Hey, doing great, guys. How you doing?
Just doing most excellent here. I almost feel like I need to get a health checkup on you and your family here. But
well, we won't do that on the air because I think we're all being recycled here.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was just telling some guys down at the racquetball court today. I took racquetball back up because I gotta get this body moving again, and I'm sitting there, and all the guys are about my age, and I just looked at one, and it was funny because two of them had knee braces on today, and I'm like, what happened? Oh man, last week was bad. I bumped into here. One guy twisted his ankle the wrong way, whatever. I said, I don't care what anybody says. Getting old sucks. It just does.
Yeah, it does. But it's a lot better than the alternative.
Yeah.
You stop getting old.
When you stop aging, it's because everything else has stopped too.
Yeah, well, I think when anybody tells me to age gracefully, I just look at them and go, "You have no clue what you're talking about. You're just."
That's a teenager that said
that. Anyway, Bob,
shut up.
Go ahead, Joe.
I was just going to tell him you can shut the what up. I wanted to talk. One of the things we will be talking about today is a short mention of the Iran ransom thing here. But I wanted to ask you, Bob, since you're our money guy, did you happen to catch Trump's economic speech today?
No, John. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear it yet. I'm going to be listening to it a little bit later.
Okay. Well, we can give you a basic rundown on it and just get your take on this thing. But let's talk. Since I told you we were talking about the Iran ransom thing, let's talk about that because I don't want to hit you upside the head here if you didn't catch the speech here. One of the things that is coming out here, I think the most telling. This is one of those situations where I think the Obama administration. I guess the first thing, let me start it out this way. The first thing that just really gets me about this whole thing is that this exchange took place in January. And why are we just now hearing about it?
Yeah, that is something. But there's something else interesting here, John. You guys may not have caught it. Are you familiar with the name Shahram Amiri?
No.
Well, let me tell you about Shahram Amiri. Shahram Amiri was a nuclear scientist who developed a software program for the United States government that interfered with the process of making nuclear-grade uranium for Iran and kind of stopped their centrifuges and caused all kinds of problems. And then he was also the guy that created these tests for determining where they might have nuclear stockpiles and where the manufacturing might take place. And he was actually offered $50 million by the United States to do all this, and he didn't actually take it. He wound up asking when he was all done, and they were doing the negotiations, for the treaty between Iran and the United States. Yeah, he was asking if he could possibly go back to his country, and he went to the Pakistani bureau of the Washington Embassy and demanded that he be able to go back home. Well,
watch what you asked for. Watch what you asked for there.
Yep, because they sent him back home, and he was immediately arrested, and he was tried, and they thought that he was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Oh, no,
well, it turns out that here we are. Last week you hear about the $400 million that was paid for ransom.
Yes.
And this gentleman was actually executed by Iran last Tuesday as a spy for the United States. And we didn't do one thing to lift a finger for this guy.
And how was he executed, Bob?
Hung.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and so who you're talking about here is the gentleman who mysteriously has appeared in some of the leaked emails that Hillary had.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And he was the subject of a number of those emails.
Yeah, and apparently these were hacked. This is part of the ongoing thing going on with WikiLeaks. They're just kind of revealing little by little some of the stuff that's going on here. And, along with this, we're hearing about Bill Clinton taking money from GEM School, which is a Sharia law. They teach Sharia law in here in the United States, in Chicago, by the way. Geez, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
And then taking money from one of his donors is actually actively funding ISIS. And kind of
doesn't every day, John and Joe, we hear more and more things that our government is doing or not doing that they keep from us that is just absolutely atrocious. And here we are, we spend $400 million in ransom money that we have said we would never do, but it was obviously is what that was done. And to get 4 guys out, I'm not even sure who the 4 guys are that came out. And yet we leave a guy like this that's done so much for the safety of our country to be strung up like a dog.
Well, actually, one of the gentlemen who was released, he was a pastor, and I think we talked about him a couple of times in this show. He was Pastor Saeed Abedini, all right, and he was one of the American hostages, and he was on Fox News talking with Fox News' Trish Regan, talking about the fact that he was sitting in an airplane on an airstrip. They were getting ready to leave, these 4 hostages. And he was told, when he asked why they had not left, I guess they'd been sitting there for a while. And he would, the guy's a hostage. He's anxious. Hey, get me out of here, In a country like that, anything could change in a moment's notice. And he said that he was told that they were waiting for another plane. And if that plane takes off, then we're going to let you go. And that plane happened to be the one that delivered the $400 million.
Yeah.
So he's out here. This is like listening to the survivors at Benghazi telling what was going on, and everybody just completely disregarding it. Here's a man who has nothing to gain by telling this, sitting here and saying, yeah, I was a hostage. I'm glad that I'm free and everything else. And the only thing he said, I can't confirm to you that the plane we were waiting for was the plane with the money on it, but there was no other plane that landed that night. So we do know that plane landed at the same time the hostage plane took off. So it's kind of like I'm incensed. I'm incensed in a couple of ways. Obama has proven time and time again he's just going to do what he wants to do. And knowing that we have a stagnated Congress, people that don't have any balls, don't want to do anything.
I wouldn't call it stagnated. I would call it more like castrated.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's a better...
Yeah.
And knowing that, I just do what I want to do, and they're not going to do anything to stop me. And even if you do, I mean, I understand that one of the Republican committees now are trying to get Loretta Lynch to respond to this Iran ransom thing. We want to know what happened here. So why is it that we're sitting here 8 months into the year, 8 months after this thing took place, and Congress is just now asking what happened?
Well, why is it, if this is truly a government of, for, and by the people are the only people that don't know what the hell's going on?
Well, I think it's an indictment, certainly on the Obama administration, that there's no regard for the Constitution or the separation of powers. It's an even bigger indictment that Congress is sitting around not even knowing what's going on, and obviously after 8 months, nobody's even bothered to ask. I mean,
I think the biggest problem here, John, the biggest problem here is we've got 535 guys in Congress that just don't give a damn.
Yeah, don't give a damn. And as we've been pointing out, I want to ask you this when we get back here. This is kind of a loaded question. But we talked about the idea last week on the show all throughout the week that we are no longer a two-party system. That basically what we have is we have globalists against nationalists. And the Democrat and the Republican Party don't exist anymore. So I'll let you comment on that when we get back here. We got to go to a break here. We've got Bob Cardoso from Robert Cardoso Live. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by CitizensUnited.org.
All right, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And hey, just a quick word of encouragement. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. Pick up this show, any of our shows. Find out what you want to know about our show, why we do what we do, and who is involved. Theconservativesyndicate.net. We've got Bob Cardosa from Robert Cardosa Live doing one of 2 weekly segments. Bob will be back with us on Friday to do another segment. And I kind of left this loaded question here at the break, Bob. We have come to the conclusion that there are no Democrats and there are no Republicans anymore. They just don't exist. And, in terms of the actual leadership that makes up the party, I'm sure there's people out there across the nation, the electorate, that think there's still Republicans and Democrats. But I don't see that anymore. I see it as globalist. Joe coined it better. I'm using his phrase, but I agree with it. Globalist versus nationalist, meaning establishments versus people like us. Do you see that, or can you see that?
Well, I'll tell you, I have my own perspective. Let me give it to you. I think that for the first time in history, Barnum and Bailey has been replaced for having the greatest show on earth by the United States government. That right now it is us against them. I think it's absolutely the nationalists against the globalists. I think that when you look at what's going on in politics today, it's almost all a setup. It's sort of like the Saturday night movie, and we're all falling right into this play. It's almost like the parties are being created only as a facade to sit out there to make people believe we still actually have a democracy here in the United States.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think the idea of, as Benjamin Franklin put it, we have a republic as long as we can keep it. Somewhere along the line here, we lost it. Now, this isn't something that just came with the induction or the immaculation of Barack Obama. This is something that has to have been around for quite a while, actually, and it's just come to fruition.
I'm sorry, did you say immaculation or ejaculation?
I'm trying to be nice here. I said immaculation.
Hey, hello.
Okay.
I didn't mean to offend you, Joe.
I misunderstand. There's people on the highway right now probably swearing to Bridget buttons.
Well, I know we might have a couple of AM stations down in Georgia right now freaking out. Anyway, it is what it is. No, I get your drift, though. I get your drift, and the idea here that we no longer. I mean, that's what this election cycle has exposed. But it has exposed something that has to have been around for quite a while, and I don't know if we could actually put our finger on it. I think probably the birth of globalism, obviously, in my opinion, just my opinion. I'll get your opinion in a second, Bob. I think it's probably started with Woodrow Wilson. I think that's when we really went into the globalist kind of thing, League of Nations, things like that. I think maybe that's where it kicked in. And then after World War II, when we became a global power, then it just kind of kicked into high gear, steroids. And, Jimmy Carter on down the line, we've just gone into overdrive. It just seems like every year, whether we have Republicans or Democrats in the White House, it just seems we're heading in that direction regardless of who's in power. There are things about Ronald Reagan that I don't like, that would indicate to me that there was at least some type of look at the globalist paradigm. What do you think?
Well, you know what? When we became the world's policeman, because we wanted to have strategic locations all over the world that we could actually interfere with other countries' governments around the world, that's when this whole thing started. And I think you're right. It started with Wilson and the League of Nations. And the truth is none of that ever did anything to make the United States really any stronger. We were already strong, and people feared us, and they were never going to come here and attack the United States. They were afraid of the United States. Now, we are so diverse all over the world that we don't have any major force in any one place that can act on a moment's notice to protect ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, Wilson, fine, but we could go back to FDR, Wilson. Let's not forget our friends LBJ.
Well, Wilson was before FDR. I'm going back to World War I. This is when it seems to.
they're one and the same. Each one of them picked up, Wilson did his because he did the little Frankfurt School thing, and he believed that's the way, because he was so enlightened. And then FDR.
Joe, they all added. You're right, Joe. They all added to the curriculum.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We look at that. We look at the creation of the League of Nations under Wilson, and then we look at the New Deal with FDR. And then what was it with Johnson? It was
Johnson. He gave us the our new society, or what?
Yeah, the new society. New society.
And then Obama gave us Obamacare.
Obama gave us Black Lives Matter.
I'm serious. I mean, those are the big chunks right there. And they knock them off one by one. And then if Hillary Clinton gets put into office, they're going to take away. Will be gun control. They will take away the Second Amendment.
Yeah,
then it'll be done.
I don't know that they'll go through the hassle of taking it away, but I think they definitely will render it useless.
Well, yes, exactly.
Yeah, so without a doubt, it's a sad state of affairs here. Now, one thing I'll
well, you know what? Are you familiar with the radio station, the Voice of America, guys? Do you know that people laugh now when we talk about the Voice of America, because America has no voice. It has no opinion. Depending on who we're talking to, our opinion changes with the wind.
Yeah, well, that is the new Voice of America. Gimme, 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 gimme.
Yeah.
That's the new Voice of America. Not let me work for it. Give me opportunity. It's give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. That kind of thing. Real quick comment here, Bob. In the time that we have left here, we got a couple minutes left here. We were talking earlier about the poll numbers right now. We're not putting a lot of stock on the polls, but don't you think it's kind of noteworthy that in spite of everything that's going on in the Clinton camp and everything that's going on in the Trump camp, and depending on what side you're on, one side is kicking the other side's ass. But yet the polls show about 25% of the country still not on board with either one of these people, and they're almost virtually dead even now, regardless of all the crap that's going on. What does that tell you?
Well, you know what? I think it's a sad state of affairs when you have a country with 320 million people in it, or maybe more than that, that can't find two people they like.
Yeah.
Or Trump, for God's sakes, to be in office. And now you got one of them who actually did it as a marketing campaign to put more dollars in his own pockets. I'm convinced now that he never did want to win. He was a marketing campaign. I'm so pissed off at him.
Well, I think it's an indictment on the American people that we have the preferable choice right now, if we were to believe the polls, is a pathological liar who's a member of the establishment that everybody says is the cause of the problem, versus a guy that just doesn't know when to shut up.
That's the problem. The guy that doesn't know when to shut up, he forgets to put his brain in gear before he puts his mouth in motion.
Yeah, this guy's like Joe Biden's love child, for crying out loud.
Can you believe people at that level? I mean, just think about it. We've got kids in high school, even in grammar school, that have more intelligence and intellect than to speak that way.
Yeah, I know. I get you there. Of course, we also have kids in liberal schools today making videos flipping the bird, saying, F Trump.
Yeah.
So
I want my safe space now.
Yeah, give me.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Maybe that's what we need to be talking about. The polling booth is the only safe space left in America.
Oh my goodness, Bob, you're going to talk.
Okay, we're out of time, Bob. I want to give you a quick moment here to plug your show.
You know what? We're on every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Go to my website, robertgoldalive.com, and please get my app. It's absolutely free. You can listen to me right after John's show that way, and we'll be here every Monday and Friday with John and Joe to just speak our minds.
All right. Thanks so much, my friend. My best to your family. Why, they all healing? And we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you on Friday.
All right, take care, guys.
Okay, guys. Okay, it's time for the Edwards Notebook and pay some bills, and we'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
The Democrats have themselves made the best case possible against the election of Mrs. Clinton to the presidency of the United States of America. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards on today's page from the Edwards Notebook. During the Democrat Party convention, it was horrendous watching one progressive Democrat after another expressing hatred and spewing lies about Donald Trump. In fact, the Democrats did not utter one single word in regards to defeating the Islamic terrorists or law-breaking illegal immigrants, but were very quick to condemn Donald Trump, who legally worked his way up the ladder of success and has hired tens of thousands of workers from all walks of life. The Democrats have displayed more loyalty towards illegal immigrants than to the principle of preserving the United States' national sovereignty. Democrats even displayed their disregard for national peace and tranquility by having the nerve to justify and rationalize murdering police officers. There were plenty of verbal salvos launched at Donald Trump, however, but not a syllable was mentioned about the need to defeat Islamic terrorists who were following through on their threat to destroy civilized Western nations, including this one. I'm Ron Edwards.
Archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. Term life insurance. It can be a powerful way to protect your assets and your family. You work hard to earn and save your money to build a nest egg for the future. Don't let it get wiped out because you didn't plan ahead. Take the time now and make a small investment in $500,000 or more in quality term life insurance. Call the Term Lifeline and let us shop the best companies to give you the lowest rates. We specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. Ask about some of our 10 and 20-year fixed rate plans with guaranteed rates. Call the Term Lifeline right now for your free insurance quote. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609. You owe it to yourself to protect your family and your assets. Make term life insurance part of that plan. Call the Term Lifeline right now. 800-870-3609. 800-870-3609.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Saying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Akos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Akos.
All right, hey, we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate Hour 2, coming to you live coast to coast and around the world, nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated. And we know that right now it's prime time somewhere, anywhere, everywhere in the world. So glad to have you with us. I hope you enjoyed the first hour. We're going to, if you did enjoy the first hour, you're going to love this hour, because we're going to get into the bad weeks. The bad week scenarios here. As we said at the beginning of the show, the media's out there. The big thing is about what a terrible week Donald Trump had last week. You know, he went after the parents of a dead Muslim who died in the Afghanistan, and boy, you would just.
I love that, John. I loved having a Muslim come out there, wave a U.S. Constitution out there, and tell me who would you rather trust?
Yeah, yeah.
And like going, Donald Trump or a Muslim?
And not even understanding that the Constitution doesn't have anything in it about banning Muslims. But there is a directive. There is a directive. There is a law. There is legislation that allows a president to determine in times of national security the banning of people coming into the country from other countries that are deemed to be a threat. By the way, every time, you know why he was waving that thing? All I could think of was the Muriel boat lift back during the Jimmy Carter administration.
Yeah.
Why wasn't anybody saying anything back then?
Yeah. You know what I could think of, too, is what we've talked and what we've heard. All of these experts we know of to tell us all about Islam and how Islam says you lie to the infidel.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things. Every conversation I've ever had with somebody about Islam, and you start telling me, okay, Islam is a religion of peace and everything else. You know what? That may be. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue. I do a lot of comparative religion teaching in the years I've been in ministry. Very little do I spend on Islam, because Islam is pretty easy to understand. Okay, Muhammad the Prophet, boom, that's it. That's all you got to know. And whether it's a religion of peace or religion of war or jihad or anything else, the element, the thing that nobody ever wants to talk about is just what you said, Joe, is that Islam looks at anybody who's not a Muslim as an infidel, an animal, below human, on the food chain. You're right down there with the dogs. And there is no problem lying. In fact, I believe the Quran in there even talks about it to the degree, I don't remember the actual phrasing, but it's okay to lie to infidels.
Yes, absolutely. So it's lies. So I'm watching this guy say, who would you rather trust, a Muslim or Donald Trump? Like going, okay, let's see. Donald Trump, I don't think, has gone out and had anybody in his religion killing anybody and chopping their heads off. I'm going for him.
Well, I take it. I personally take it one step further. Maybe if we gave each of these two people a Constitution test, we don't know. We don't know what they would score. I don't think either one of them would score very high. But I can tell you one thing: Donald Trump understands the Constitution more than this guy does because Donald Trump has benefited from the Constitution more than this guy has. Okay, I bet you he could guess at half the answers and get them right just because the whole idea of American exceptionalism is kind of inbred into you. It's inherent. And the only reason why we have, 50% of the population right now not understanding what's going on here in terms of progressivism and how they're advancing their agenda and their ideology as real democracy versus republicanism is because people don't know that inherent, what do you want to call it, that an inherent element of American exceptionalism isn't being taught or bred anymore into these generations. Now it's all, hey, we'll pay for college if you come work for the state.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to work out really well.
Yeah.
Which leads me into Hillary.
Yeah, so anyway, getting back here, we mentioned at the beginning of the show here. We talked about, we're at our short segment here. That's right. Okay. We got to go to break. When we come back, Joe's got a montage of Hillary's past stances, Miss Flip-Flopper. And that's in addition to everything else we're going to talk about that highlights Hillary's bad week last week. She had a week, in my opinion, and I think anybody, if you really put it all together, much worse than Donald Trump had. Okay, stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment, and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing, and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. You know, I wondered how long it was going to take to start injecting political correctness to the extreme degree in the Olympics. You know, I thought, last week it was kind of funny. There's one of the soccer players, U.S. soccer player, I don't know her name, I don't remember her name, but she was concerned about the Zika virus down in Rio. And I guess the crowd is showing their appreciation for her by every time, I guess, when she has the ball or something, they're booing her. And from one of my kids at our church yesterday who's really into soccer, every time she kicks the ball, the crowd yells Zika. And I thought, that's kind of funny. I find kind of stuff like that humorous. But I wondered when it was going to get into the really politically correct stuff. And of course, I'm specifically talking about the idea of when was Black Lives Matter going to enter into the Olympics. And lo and behold, here it is. I want to share this with you here before I let Joe go on you. Team USA gymnast Simone Biles, black girl on the U.S. Gymnastic team, and NBC gymnastics announcer Al Trautwig referred to her adoptive parents, Ron and Nellie Biles, as her grandparents. Okay, the backstory. They always try to give you the backstory because that's really more important than the actual accomplishments. And Ron and Nellie Biles apparently are indeed her biological grandparents. And they adopted Simone and her sister in 2001 because Simone and Andrea's, the sister's name is Andrea, the daughter, their biological mother struggles with alcohol and drugs. And so the grandparents adopted the two children. And basically have been raising them ever since. Mm-hmm. So I don't know why this is a big deal, but apparently it is a big deal. Trautwig referred to Ron and Nellie Biles as her grandparents rather than her parents. And the adoption advocates are upset. And they are out there on Twitter saying that this guy should be fired because he referred to her biological grandparents as her parents rather than her real parent, who apparently is having some drug problems. Okay, and they don't say whether the father's in the home or not. They're saying the daughter, who's a daughter of Ron and Nellie Biles. Anyway, this is weird. And so now this coach is being told or trying to walk back the comments and apologize for basically stating something that is absolutely true, that the parents, the grandparents of this gymnast adopted her because of problems with her biological mother. And so her biological grandparents adopted her. And because the commentator referred to them as her grandparents instead of her parents, the people in the adoption conglomerate or demographic or whatever are up in arms about this. And they got a Twitter where they want this coach fired because he misrepresented the parents, the grandparents.
Safe space. I want my safe space.
Yeah, even though he didn't misrepresent anybody. He stated it exactly. What they're upset about is the fact that he referenced them as grandparents, which gives the indication that this black child doesn't have a mother and father taking care of her. Okay, that's the Black Lives Matter spin. That's what I'm saying. And so now the adoption people are out there going crazy.
Well, when they're going to start getting upset about Planned Parenthood.
Yeah, and they're not upset about that, or they're not upset about homosexuals wanting to adopt kids or anything like that. Nothing that would could really cause much more damaging effect being brought up by some a couple like that. A homosexual couple.
Sanger, hey, Hillary Clinton, tell us why Margaret Sanger started Planned Parenthood. Yeah. It wasn't because she loved black people.
Well, I'm just like, I am just so mind-boggled here. What's the big deal? I bet you if you talk to Simone Biles, she would call them her grandparents.
Yeah, I bet you there is no big deal. Truly.
Yeah, but and I'm waiting. You guys are going to see this. You're going to see it more and more. That's why I talked about the Garcetti thing. The idea here that we're basing a choice as to where the Olympics Games are going to be based on the political correctness, the paradigm of political correctness. Oh, we don't want to go to the United States. I mean, they hate Muslims.
Okay, I'm of the opinion, don't ever come here. I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't either.
Have the Olympics. I don't care if the Olympics ever go on again, ever, to be quite honest with you.
And we're talking about actually one of the most politically saturated entities that are out there. It's the Olympics.
Yes, absolutely. It's ridiculous. I mean, we can go back to Jesse Owens in Hitler's Germany.
Yeah. Oh, well, not only that, just the way that they choose who's going to win.
Oh, yeah.
One thing, I used to love watching gymnastics, and I used to love watching ice skating and stuff like that, but they've already chosen the winner before they get there.
Yeah.
It's whoever the darling of the day is, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the ice skating, if you're an out of the closet homosexual, you're a shoo-in.
Oh yeah, well you definitely got a leg up on them.
Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to throw that out there. I'm wondering how far this is going to go. I wonder. It's not going to be about the Olympics anymore. It's going to be about the thing. Michael Phelps, he wins another medal here, and what are they talking about? He's got bruises on his back. Where did he get those bruises? I don't know. Maybe somebody beat him up with a bong.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, Joe, we were talking about Hillary's bad week last week.
Yeah. I think we should continue her bad week.
Yeah. Now, she short-circuited on her claim that she didn't lie to the FBI. Now, we all understand that it's from the FBI's perspective. She did not tell them anything untruthful. However, she lied to the American public, and that's been the spin. I didn't lie to the FBI, therefore, I didn't lie to anybody. Now, okay?
Yeah, well, she's short-circuited quite a bit in her lifetime, I think.
So the Freudian slip in the middle of one of her speeches, she said, we're absolutely going to raise the taxes on the middle class.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm going to be your champion.
Yeah. I mean, we know that it was a slip, but it was a slip that is more indicative of what they really think than the fact. I'm sure she wanted to say the 1% or the rich or the wealthy or whatever.
Here's what she meant, John. Right here. Here's what she meant.
Everyday Americans need a champion, and I want to be that champion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what she meant to say.
Okay, we talked about the poll numbers. We talked about the poll numbers. Virtually virtual tie. No matter how much Donald Trump shoots himself in the foot or how many times he does it, the polls are still at a dead heat, and neither one of them are walking away with this thing. When you got less than
told John, I think the truth be told, I think actually Trump is probably way ahead. We're just not going to hear about it until unless they absolutely steal the election. I think we won't hear about it till election. The result. That's the only poll that really counts is election day.
Yeah. I agree. I think what I want to see. I would love to see one or two, even if they're just small states. I would like to see the Electoral College go to Gary Johnson or Jill Stein, just to make things interesting. I don't think that'll happen. Maybe they can pull in Puerto Rico or something, but the point that would be really interesting if we had these third-party candidates do some kind of damage just for that reason. But then again, the downside is they're going to take away. If anything taken away from Trump helps Hillary.
Yeah, exactly. So there's voters out there going, I can't vote for Trump because he's so evil and misogynistic, and he says horrible, horrendous things. Yeah. I just remember that when the Supreme Court gets ruled by Hillary Clinton for the next 40 years, and you're worried about Donald Trump insulting somebody or saying something that, I don't know. There seem to be a lot of people who agree with him because there are a lot of people who seem to have voted for him.
Yeah. And then we had as we talked about in the first hour, the Iranian nuclear scientist who was executed for spying and mentioned several times in the leaked emails of Hillary Clinton. Yes. We talked about the Iran hostage ransom last week that Hillary Clinton's not going to be able to get away from should Donald Trump be smart enough to throw that in her face. And, of course, the fear from the DNC that there's going to be more leaks coming out of WikiLeaks that are going to damage the Clinton campaign. Now, all that said, that sounds a lot more like a lot worse week than getting into a pissing contest with a couple of Muslim parents.
Yeah, who knows? And the DNC, and all of a sudden the Democrats are all for, as we said last week, are all for military families. Oh, so much so.
Yeah. So, having said all that, Joe put together something here that I think is probably more relevant, probably the most relevant aspect of the Clinton campaign. Go for it, Joe.
I found this, and this is Hillary Clinton as a senator, Secretary of State, and in their campaign, and it runs through a litany of Hillary just kind of changing her position or not being quite what she's supposed to be, that kind of thing. And I'll just go down this little litany thing here, and then we'll play this thing. First, she starts off about gay marriage, then it talks about just her affection for black people, her as a liberal, or is that her as a conservative? I don't know. How much she really cares about young people and what she really cares about them. How she feels about babies, talking about young people. How she feels about babies and how they should be allowed to live and or die. If you can make it out of the womb, you'll probably be able to live. And then they're always talking about Donald Trump being such a madman. He's going to destroy the world. World War III, all that, short-tempered, and Hillary's such an even-tempered person. And then, let's not forget, Hillary is friends with the Russians, and we have a couple little clips with Hillary talking about Mr. Putin, and then Mr. Putin reacts to it, and then of course Hillary has this problem with honesty. We remember we talk about landing in Bosnia, about NAFTA. Trump recruiting for ISIS as being the best thing to ever happen to ISIS recruiting. Hillary's grandparents being immigrants. And, of course, transparency altogether. Hillary has these emails from Goldman Sachs that she never wants to talk about. And then, again, Hillary is a candidate of peace. How much she really loves Iraq. And John, feel free to stop us anytime in the middle of these, because we're not going to get through all of them before the break, so we're going to pause it before that anyway. But I'm going to start these up and so we can kind of go through this, and we'll stop them just before the break. So here we go.
Do you think New York State should recognize gay marriage?
No.
No. Okay.
I believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. I do not support gay marriage.
So that was Hillary Clinton on gay marriage. Yes, okay. Now we're going to talk, hey, should black people vote for Hillary Clinton?
I was a Goldwater girl. I'm very proud that I was a Goldwater girl.
Goldwater was against the 1964 Civil Rights Act.
40,000 people, half of them Negroes, demonstrate against Goldwater.
I am compelled to urge Negroes and all people of goodwill to vote against it.
And that's Martin Luther King talking there.
His election would be a tragedy and certainly suicidal almost for the nation and the world.
My political beliefs are rooted in the conservatism that I was raised with. I feel sorry sometimes for the young people who, believe this. They don't do their own research.
And so, Hillary was a conservative. Can you believe that? Her conservative values, she shows them to us every single day, I think. And those poor young people, they just don't know how to find things out for themselves, and they just need her help. So she's going to help them get free college and everything else. And her being a Goldwater girl, back in the day, before she found Saul Alinsky, of course.
I think I have a comment when we get through this montage. I have a comment about the Goldwater comment. Goldwater being against the Civil Rights Act. I've got a comment about that, but we'll get through the montage first here. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back, and we'll finish this up. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest, who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contests and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Expand your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Hey, I don't back anybody unless I believe in them. And I do believe in the value of investing in gold and silver. And the company I trust to buy my gold and silver from is Swiss America. I've been working with them for nearly a decade. I trust them, and you can too. Swiss America will help you sort through and find the best options available when you're considering investing in gold and silver coins. Listen, for over 30 years, Swiss America has been offering Americans what they want in their investments: safety, liquidity, quality, reliability, and a potential profit. Gold and silver have a place in every investor's portfolio. So why not let Swiss America help you diversify your investment portfolio now? Call now for free information. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907. 800-978-3907.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame. He owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get the Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world. Then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
All right, hey, we're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. We're playing a montage of Hillary's past stances on different things here. And I do want to make a remark after we're through the montage here about her being a Goldwater girl. And there's so much in that one little statement here that in and of itself completely contradicts everything she proclaims to be today, but not because Barry Goldwater was against the Civil Rights Act. And I'll explain why. But go ahead, Joe. You have the con.
Okay, so we got up to, let's see. Oh, yes, her films for young people and how she really cares about that. And now let's move on. We're going to move on. And this is how much Hillary cares about the unborn.
The unborn person doesn't have constitutional rights.
Are you saying that a child on its due date, just hours before delivery, still has no constitutional rights?
Under our law, that is the case. So in the third trimester of pregnancy, there is room for looking at the life.
You're saying your opinion on gay marriage changed, or you changed your mind?
I have to say, I think you are being very persistent, but you are playing with my words and playing with what is such an
I'm just trying to clarify
issue.
So I can understand.
No, I don't think you are trying to clarify. He's a very arrogant person to deal with, which I think is a combination of this vision of Russia and some fundamental insecurity.
I could have told him he was a KGB agent. By definition, he doesn't have a soul. I mean, this is a waste of time, right?
Как минимум, государственный деятель должен иметь голову.
That's Hillary Clinton talking about Vladimir Putin, okay, and she is says that he's a KGB guy, and so he doesn't have a soul. And I'll just translate for you real quick what Putin said. He said, "I don't have a soul. Well, at least I have a brain." and so we'll move on.
Only a few days ago, she said that what Russia is doing in Eastern Europe resembles what Hitler was doing in the 1930s.
Mrs. Clinton has never been too graceful in her statements. When people push boundaries too far, it's not because they are strong, but because they are weak.
I remember landing under sniper fire. There was supposed to be some kind of a greeting ceremony at the airport, but instead we just ran with our heads down to get into the vehicles.
Her arrival in Bosnia was not quite as dramatic as Clinton put it. Memories should always match the videotape.
I have been a critic of NAFTA from the very beginning. I think that NAFTA is proving its worth. They are going to people showing videos of Donald Trump insulting Islam and Muslims in order to recruit more radical jihadists.
The fact checkers have said that she was wrong.
All my grandparents, came over here, and
turns out only one was an immigrant, 3 were not.
During the parade in which she participated, her campaign roped off reporters so they wouldn't interfere with the candidate
Clinton operatives blasted reporters camped across the street from an outdoor fundraiser in white noise or static noise so that reporters couldn't hear what she was telling the donors.
Hi, Secretary Clinton. Will you release a transcript of your paid speeches to Goldman Sachs? No, there's a lot of controversy over their speeches.
When Hillary voted to authorize the war in Iraq in 2002, Clinton promoted the war-torn country as a place where American corporations could make big money.
It's time for the United States to start thinking of Iraq as a business opportunity.
Oh, yes, a business opportunity. Yes. Yeah, as we send our men and women there to die, fight and die over there. That's a business opportunity waiting to happen. Thank you, Hillary. Just, her transparency as she laughs off the Golden Smacks speeches, transcripts. That was pretty funny, too. I'm sure she liked that one, too. And, I just love how Hillary thinks that even at 36 months, or I'm sorry, at the third trimester, 36 weeks into a pregnancy, that you can still abort a baby. I'm thinking, hey, Hillary, what about 36 weeks after they're born? Might as well, you can still kill them then too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She really cared. She's such a loving person, and even tempered. I mean, my goodness, and honest too. Remember when she landed under sniper fire in Bosnia? Yes, such a just honesty and integrity just oozes from every time. Hey, I look up, I see Hillary Clinton's face. I think honesty, integrity.
Yeah,
it's gone right out the window. Actually, is what I think. But anyhow, John, you had a thing about Goldwater, and so. This is a good time to bring that up. I understand what you're going to say.
Yeah, well, outside of the fact that some of these comments, especially the comment about abortion, how anybody with the IQ of seaweed could sit there and listen to this woman tell you about, it takes a village, and I've spent my whole life working for children, and I passed legislation that got 8,000 disabled kids health care, and this, that, and the other. And then we go into the Iraq thing, the Middle East conflict. Time to look. Well, apparently Bill Clinton has picked up on that. We talked about that today, about people that are into Sharia law sending millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation. One of his donors is actively funding ISIS. And that doesn't seem to be a big issue for anybody. But then, somebody wants to bring in 550% increase of Syrian refugees, and without having them vetted properly, I guess that kind of makes sense. But the one I picked up on...
Well, we had a bit of trouble, I think, up in, I believe in Oregon it was.
Yeah.
One of these refugees just the other day.
Yeah, so, but the thing that really stuck out to me was I'm a Goldwater girl. Okay?
Yeah,
all right. Now, the idea here, of course, the idea being that Goldwater is perpetrated by the left, that Goldwater was against the Civil Rights Act, that he was just adamantly against the Civil Rights Act. And, of course, he was, but for the reasons I'm going to lay out for you, not the fact that he was a racist.
Yeah.
In fact, it was quite the opposite. And when you hear Goldwater's stance on why he was against the Civil Rights Act, it puts Hillary Clinton even more into the progressive mindset. It paints her for what she really is, and that is a pandering, corrupt individual that will say anything to anybody to get a vote. Now, Barry Goldwater, when the idea was floated to write the Civil Rights Act in 1964. And there are a lot of things behind what prompted Johnson to get involved in something he didn't really want to get involved in. Obviously, it was the idea that, as we reported, I think, a couple weeks in this show, they realized it was during the Kennedy and Nixon fervor when they were running against each other before Johnson took office, or before he got into office and then ran for re-election. That Martin Luther King had been jailed.
Yes.
And Richard Nixon had tried to get Martin Luther King released. Martin Luther King was a Republican, and he couldn't get through the channels to get to Jack Kennedy, who at that time was he sitting president? I believe he was sitting president.
No, this is before that, but still, he was trying to get there, and so this is what helped.
Yeah, he could, but he couldn't get to Kennedy.
Yeah, well, he couldn't get to the people that would release King from jail.
Yeah, he was trying to pull some strings basically, and he couldn't get to the people that he needed to get to.
So Sergeant Shriver found out about this and got a hold of Kennedy and said, "At least make a phone call, and that'll look good for us." And that's what he did. And
so
the rest is history.
Yeah. So what happened from that point is that somebody on the Democrat side realized, oh, the black vote is worth getting now. Okay, that's really what it boiled down to. Up until that point, the Kennedys were not real civil rights people. Bobby Kennedy became a civil rights advocate because when he ran in '68, he knew that the black vote was going to be important because of what had happened with John Kennedy before.
Yes, and LBJ, and as we heard Martin Luther King talking about Goldwater and everything. Well, LBJ had gotten with Martin Luther King, and basically he knew that Martin Luther King knew that LBJ was trying to get this passed through, and so he was going to support LBJ and not do anything to hinder the passage of this legislation, which is still required untold amount of Republican support to even get through.
Right. Now, Barry Goldwater voiced, I've got the transcript sitting here right in front of me, one of the speeches he gave as to why he opposed the Civil Rights Act. And the reason why he did not support the Civil Rights Act as it was written, as he said, he had supported the Civil Rights Act that were the Civil Rights Bills, which were enacted in 1957 and 1960. Mm-hmm. But he said, I couldn't support this one. And he said, I'm going to read to you real quick here. I wish to make myself perfectly clear. The two portions, this so-called bill, to which I have constantly and consistently voiced objections, and which are such overriding significance that they are the determination of my vote on the entire measure, are those which would embark the federal government on a regulatory course of action in the area of so-called public accommodations and in the area of employment. To be precise, Titles 2, Title 7 of the bill. I find no constitutional basis for the exercise of federal regulatory authority in either of these areas, and I believe the attempted usurpation of such power to be a grave threat to the very essence of our basic system of government, namely that a constitutional government in which 50 sovereign states have reserved to themselves and to the people those powers not specifically granted to the central or federal government. So his argument was this is a violation of the separation of powers, that the federal government is overstepping federalism and dictating to the states what they can and cannot do in terms of regulations and their treatment of minorities. But the big thing was, as you read farther down in here, he said he was afraid, what he was concerned with the most was the federal government stepping in and starting to make rules and regulations that would actually, in and of itself, create its own segregation, and we know it as affirmative action. Mm-hmm. So he was saying, basically, what you've done is you've usurped the state rights to decide what to do, and he says if this is what you want, it should go through the constitutional amendment process and be put in the Constitution, not through legislation with the federal government dictating to the states what they can and cannot do.
So he was basically touting the 10th Amendment rights of the states.
Exactly. That's what he's saying. The power not granted to the federal government is given to the states. And he says, you're overriding this, you're taking this away, and you're not going through the proper process. This type of bill should be a constitutional amendment, and it should go through the ratification process in which 3/4 of the states say, yes, we want it in the Constitution, not just write a law and enforce the states to comply.
Yeah.
And that's why, and when he talked about the regulatory effect and everything else, what he's saying is exactly what has happened. Affirmative action, preferential treatment, all at the expense of trying to pander to a demographic.
And we'll even take it further, John, what caused the housing collapse in 2008.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Hillary Clinton does not embody any of those ideas that Barry Goldwater were against. She embodies everything that he was against, and that is the federal government dictating and mandating to states and everybody else what is right and what is proper. Okay,
absolutely. She is no Goldwater girl, but it's amazing how she can just say those words, and and it must be so because she said it. She short-circuited once again.
Yeah. We got to go to break. When we come back, we'll continue our discussion here. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. We'll be right back.
A healthy attitude toward human politics will be relentlessly cynical. Consider us health food for the heart, mind, and soul. TheConservativeSyndicate.net. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live Daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. With Bob, you get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decisions concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday, 3 to 5 p.m. Pacific time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos. And, as we start to begin to sum up today's noise, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, I think it's really important here that we stay focused on this idea or the reality of what's really going on here. I don't know how it is. It's kind of like this is kind of the way I'm seeing it. Is that we have on one side we have Trump, who basically, through he's become to me in my mind pretty much the king of gaffe. Okay, he just doesn't know when to let things go. Now there are people out there. I have people telling me, trying to convince me that Trump is crazy like a fox. That's a phrase I hear a lot. He's crazy like a fox. Yeah, it sounds like he's a wingnut, but he's really, he's zoning in on those people that support him. If that's what's happening, if that's truly what's happening, it's not what I think is happening, but if that's what's happening, and it does incite or inspire, whichever word you want to tag on his supporters, if it incites people to the polls, great. If it inspires people to the polls, even better. And if that number shows up like everybody is thinking is out there, then this thing is going to be Clinton's going to get her. She's going to get schlonged. Okay. On the other hand, if the left, because I don't think the left is going to do it with numbers. I don't think they're going to actually get out there and have a high turnout like they did in 2008. I think the 2012 election showed that. Even with Obama winning re-election, the numbers were down. And I don't see Democrats in mass just going, yeah, she's our savior. I think it's more, people that are going to go to the polls are not going to be voting for Hillary Clinton. They're going to be voting against Donald Trump. So it depends on who can inspire and incite their base and get them to the polls. Now, having said that, I think it's pretty much a crapshoot right now. I don't see one side or the other. But the fact that we're sitting here with the king of gaffe and the queen of corruption in a virtual tie, to me, it makes everything I hear, most of what I hear coming from the media, just noise. It's just noise.
Yeah, it's all noise designed to suppress Republican enthusiasm, and people that might vote for Trump suppress their enthusiasm. But as we can see, people are still showing up to his rallies, still showing up to see him. And who's showing up to see Hillary? 20, 30 people.
Yeah, see, you said something earlier, Joe, and I was going to comment on it. I'm glad you brought it back up. And when you see, the way cameras are framed on these things.
Yes.
Okay, Donald Trump gives his economic speech today, all right? 2,000 people was the estimate that showed up at this stuff, okay? 2,000 is a lot smaller than a crowd than he's, had it in the past. But 2,000 is still a good crowd. Now, you look at how Hillary's speeches are framed. I'll tell you how they're framed. They're framed with a backdrop of people. Okay, they trot out their props. I call them props. They're human props. If she's speaking, she was speaking the other day. She was in front of the black journalist. What do you want to call it? The mixed bag newscaster, news reporter thing. So black and Latino thing. This press conference that she gave where she short circuited. Okay, and it was minority newscasters. Okay. And you see the same kind of framing where all you want is the candidate in the picture. But it's for different reasons. In a Hillary press conference or a Hillary rally, when she's at a rally, what you see as a framing is they've got people sitting behind her. Okay, and it gives the impression there's a lot of people there. Obama does it whenever he has a press conference. What he likes to do is he likes to line up people behind him. If he's talking to the military, everybody's got camo. If he's talking to doctors, everybody's got a white jacket on. I think he gathers all the janitors in the building, and they pass out jackets and say, you're going to stand up on stage, and you're going to represent the medical field. Okay? You don't see those anymore, though, because Obamacare is going down the toilet. Okay? You don't see that kind of thing. If he's at a college thing, you see all the college kids hanging in the background. If he's at a Planned Parenthood thing, you see all the black mothers in the background. And it gives the impression that there's much more people there than there really are. In Trump, they frame them because they don't want you to see how many people are there.
Yeah, exactly. They never and he's been saying that since for a half a year, over a half a year now. He stopped saying it after he got the nomination rolled up. But they're still doing the same thing. They're tight shot on him. They won't show the crowds.
Yeah, but you can hear the crowd if you listen. The noise is there. Okay, and even as we talked about earlier about the protesters there, they got smart. They don't sit there lock arm with each other with their no Trump hate signs or anything else. They got 14 different protesters scattered throughout the crowd just to intermittently interrupt everything. Okay, fine. That's apparently that's easier to deal with because what's one voice? Okay. I got to hand it to him. That takes a lot of balls to go to a Trump rally, stand by yourself in the middle of Trump supporters and say something stupid. But
knowing that you're going to get drug out of there.
Yeah. But that's the whole idea. That's the whole idea because you get that attention, and all the Sanders supporters are sitting around watching and going, "Oh yeah, pass me the bong." Okay, that's worth another hit. Anyway, all this is said and done here. Actually, I had a point there. I just kind of lost.
Oh, gee.
It's just when you start packing this thing all together here, it's just going to be if the left can. That's what it was. If the left can dissuade or disappoint enough Republicans to keep from coming to the polls. And this is where the collusion comes in with the Republican Party, the establishment. They're trying to do the same thing. They're trying to keep people from the polls. So anyway, that's our show for today. I just looked at the clock here. We're out of time here. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to carry on a little bit with some of this, and I'm sure by tomorrow we'll have fresh stuff for you because it's just happening by the minute here, one way or the other.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have more Donald Trump stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Well, a little bit. Oh, yeah. We want to analyze his speech today. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. Stay with us. All right, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net. We love you. We thank you so much for being loyal to us and being part of our program. This is why we do this. We love you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the nationally acclaimed, globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's theconservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking the time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best in uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, along with Joe Hako, signing off until next time right here at the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.